In studio right now, we have the man who is heading the team implementing the Constitution. And of course, we know it took decades for us to get that document, and important to continue the focus on the process. Thank you, Charles Nyachae, for being in studio with us. We're going to talk about the local tribunal issue, because there's a lot that's been said about The Hague, but we forget that so many people committed crimes during that period, and victims are still sitting down waiting for justice, and we'll come to that. Let's start with where are we right now in terms of Constitution implementation. What as a country must we focus on? What are your priority areas? What is your team working on?
Julie, our priorities are derived from two sources. One is the fifth schedule of the Constitution, because that's got timelines within which certain laws must be in place. And we have to adhere to those timelines faithfully, because that's the architecture of the Constitution, and it is expected that the Constitution will be fully implemented within a given time span, namely 5 years. 5 years from now, we should have done our work, we should be out of it. Now, the architecture of the Constitution in the fifth schedule is such that the laws that are required to be put in place before the first general election under this Constitution are given the priority. Those are the laws that have to be in place within 1 year from the effective date. That's from August last year. Now, essentially, we are looking at the laws that are required to facilitate the election. So we are looking at the laws that, the act that will establish the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, because that's the body that will manage the election. We are looking at the bill that will be called the eventually the Elections Act, so that all the laws relating to elections, which in the previous constitutional dispensation were all over the place. You had the National Assembly and Presidential Elections Act, you had the Election Offences Act, you had all laws all over the place. Now there's going to be one law, the Elections Act, which will be the substantive law of elections. We are also looking at the political parties
yes, absolutely.
bill. Yeah.
Let's talk about elections for a minute, because of course there's the debate right now over the timing of the elections. What are your comments, and as a team, what is the team's position?
Well, I think we've stated our position as regards the election date, and it's really not an opinion, Julie. It's out of this document. I mean, we read the Constitution, and it tells us when the election date is going to be. Now,
the election date is to be? Give us the date.
It's there in Article 101 of the Constitution, the second Tuesday of August in the fifth year.
Done.
Those are not my words. Those are the words of the Constitution.
That is the law. So
that's the law. Okay, there are issues about the transitional provisions. The transitional provisions, if we look at them, first of all, the Section 2 of the sixth schedule, which is the transitional provisions, that specifically does not suspend the part of the substantive body of the Constitution which deals with elections. So it saves so that part became operational on the 27th of the article that I have just quoted to you became operational on the 27th of August last year. It's not suspended.
Let's move on a little bit and talk about a local tribunal. And
before you do that, I want to say two things, if you'll allow me, about the date of the election. One, Julie, let's not focus so much on the date of the election that we forget what it is that we have to do so that we are ready for that election. Whenever that election is, whether that election is in August, as we read in the Constitution, or whenever that election is found to be. Because at the end of the day, somebody could go to the Supreme Court and they come up with a different interpretation. But the point is, whenever that election is going to be, we've got to be ready for it.
Let's have everything in place legally. Yes.
And we can be. I'll give you an example. I mean, if you look at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission bill, which we are looking at now, which as CIC we've pretty much formed our opinion on, there is no reason as far as we are concerned that within 3 weeks of Parliament resuming next week, that should not be law. If everybody has the goodwill, it can be law.
Right.
The elections bill, once we process that, that also shouldn't take, you know, more than several weeks.
It just seems in Kenya there's lots of things to debate about, and the debates always take away from the substantive work that needs to be done, which is another reason why I'm pulling you back to the tribunal issue.
Fair enough.
We've got to wind up, but this I think is important.
Yeah.
We keep talking about the Hague and the Ocampo 6. But many people perpetrated crimes, whether it was at village level, in their particular estates, wherever it was. There are many victims sitting at home wondering, when will I get justice? Do I have to live with this pain? And the big question is, as a country, do we need to seek local justice for the many who suffered? Must we, Charles, put our own tribunal in place to deal with so many other people who may have committed crimes during the post-election period?
Julie, a local tribunal, that's an option that's available to Kenya. That's an option that Parliament can choose to exercise and set up a local tribunal. Beyond saying that that's an option that's available in the Constitution, on that one I can't say very much. What I can say is that, and from where I sit, it's not just a tribunal that delivers justice. I mean, we've got to reform the judiciary. That's what the judicial reforms as envisaged under the Constitution are about. And that's what we're doing. We've passed two bills already. We are looking now at the Supreme Court bill so that we have a reformed judiciary. The first bill, the Judicial Services, the Vetting of Judges and Magistrates bill will provide for the current judges and magistrates to be vetted so that as I say, it's part of the process of reforming the judiciary. We are looking at the police sector reform bills. Currently, the process of appointing a DPP is going on. So all those under the Constitution go towards reforming the justice system that would enable those victims to be able to get the justice.
Right.
Let's not forget, one of the problems we had post-election 2008 was that a large section of Kenyans had no faith in the judiciary.
Right.
So really, our job is to put those institutions in place, and that's what we're doing. And therefore, there is a basis on which Kenyans can receive justice from that system.
So plenty of work to be done. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles.